Hey guys, we're starting vertical watercolors today, and what I want you to do first, before we start anything else, is you are going to find a picture that you can make vertical. So here's my picture. You might not be able to see it because it has a cover on it, but you're going to keep the cover on the ones you find in the book because you don't need to draw a grid or anything else for this. So find a picture that you like, find a picture that you can make vertical. I do have some examples, but think about things that you want to be able to do because it's easier to draw or paint something that you're interested in. So I liked the color of these cactuses, so I decided to do this one. And so what the first thing you want to do before you get to this is the final stage, is you're going to draw it out. So you're going to take your tape, you're going to tape around the edges just like you did for your beach scene, and then you're going to draw it out very well on this piece of paper. So the reason why you want to draw it out is so you know where all the watercolors are going to go and where everything is going to land. So I've already prepped my watercolors and put some water in each one of them. I also wiped out a little area so that I can be able to mix colors, because the real key to this is keeping your picture with you close and looking back and forth at the colors you need to use. So I know that my cactus is kind of a blue-green color, so I'm going to take and put some water down first. I'm going to take some blue. Notice that I don't have a lot of like blue and green, but I'm going to get plenty of use out of those little bit of blue and green, okay? So if your piece is a little low, you don't need a whole new palette or a whole new green just because you have a little bit of green. That's actually enough to be able to do your painting, believe it or not. So I mixed, I had a little bit of black in my palette, so mix that in there with it because I want like a stony blue. Take your time when mixing your colors, okay? Don't just mix any color together or just take from the pan. You need to mix your colors because that's going to make it look more realistic and better picture if you go ahead and do that. So I'm going to make my background first. I'm going to do wet on wet technique. Put some down and then get some of my paint. And I'm just doing light washes, and I can always go in and make like a darker section off to the side. Think about it like it's tempera paint, only wetter. And I'm gonna bring that around. I want a lot of water in my background because I like the effect of a background being very soft and very like fluid. So you want to kind of get that together and do that. And I want to make this a little bit different color than my cactus. I kind of like this color for my cactus. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to use wet on dry. So my paintbrush is wet and my paper is dry. So I'm going to go ahead and put that color down on my cactus. It gives you a stronger color. You're not going to be able to get a solid color, but that's why this is two-tone. If you noticed, this picture is not just watercolor, it's actually color pencil too. So what we're going to do is do the first day or first 2 days just doing watercolor. Just get your color down, get large spaces of color, and then you're going to go in with color pencils later on and add details to your stuff. And I'll show you that in a second. Mix some more paint. Put some down here. So I want to continue my background, but I want it to be kind of a little bit of a different color. I'm going to add some purple to it. So put some water down, make it really wet, so I can make my background different than what's going on in the foreground. I'm going to make a pink for my buds right here. So I have an extra space right here. Add a little bit of red. This way I can control how much red I'm picking up on my paintbrush. I'm going to take it, I'm going to move it around and see that I'm using the white of the paper to be able to help mix my colors. So you notice there's no white in here, and we talked about this a little bit with the beach scene, is you want to use the paper to be able to help you get lighter colors. Don't just pile color on top of it, because you can't take it away as easily as you can add it. So I can always add layers of pink if I don't like this pink color, which actually is pretty accurate. So I'm gonna get a little bit of green. Same thing over here, dab it, because I wanna be able to control how much green I'm getting. And then, yeah, it's a little bit too dark for me, so I'm gonna wet my paintbrush and just focus on an area. Notice that if you get it mixed in with the pink, the green wants to mix in with the pink. Kind of avoid that as best you can. I don't want a dark green, I just want a light green for right now. Maybe a little bit darker. I'm starting to lose pigment altogether. You don't want to lose pigment, you want kind of a nice middle tone. Okay, so I started, and you just keep going with your watercolors from there. Work on the background, then do like your other pieces. So once you get all of the watercolor done, you're gonna leave it to dry. And this one is dry, and I took the tape off very, very carefully. So I took my time with the watercolors, made sure I had dark spaces and light spaces, and kind of got some of my detail down. You can get some detail down with the paint brushes that actually turn out really cool in the end. So that's where I started off. It's not very detailed, because watercolor, like, you could go in with watercolor now, like a dry on dry technique, and get like little lines, and that's what a lot of watercolor artists do. But because we're kind of just learning, we're going to go ahead and go in with color pencils. So I'm going to take my color pencil, and I'm going to make some of those lines and some of those dark spaces and light spaces that are in my flowers. So take your time with this part. Okay. Kind of see where some things are. So I have that pink color, and then I'm going to come in with orange, because there's a little bit of orange in some of these spaces. And I like the yellow to be a little brighter on that one. So you can go in, and I like bringing in a purple too as a dark contrast too. So you want to look at back and forth at what your picture has to offer, all the colors and variations, because that's really what's going to make your piece, and any piece you do, very good, is looking back and forth at your picture. I'm manipulating the colors a little bit, because this is obviously not purple, but it's very dark, and I don't want to use black. So there's that one. Then I'm gonna go in with I'm gonna do the dark green first. Usually I would do the light green. Make those little cactus-like pieces on. Yeah. So that one, keep going. Make some of the shadow that's right here. I'm going to darken it up with some blue a little bit later, but the green is a good start. So you just go ahead, and since there's dark spaces over here, I can take my green or my blue. I think blue would be good for this one too. But I'm going to go around the edges. You can crisp up some lines if you really need to, but use the color pencils to your advantage to add lots of detail. That's why whenever you look at this one, there's tons of detail. It looks very like put together, very professional looking. So take your time with this. It's kind of an experiment in watercolors and mixed media together, because mixed media is several different mediums together. You're using watercolor and color pencil to make a very interesting and detailed drawing. So that's what you need to focus on. Make sure that you pick a picture you like. It always helps. And get started. Good luck.